Welcome to 5 Stripe Weekly. We review that solid effort against the Galaxy and preview the U.S. Open Cup semifinal against Trash City. We discuss that next.
Welcome to the show, 5 Stripe fam. I'm AJ, this is Mark. Before we get into it, become part of the notification squad by hitting the bell next to the subscribe button on YouTube or hop over from Facebook and subscribe. So solid chance creation and clinical finishing by own goal pretty much got us a 3-0 win.
When did we sign him? I missed that.
I know, man. He's been super good in front of goal. I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah. So that 3-0 win against LA Galaxy, very solid stuff. I mean, a lot of, like I said, chances created. Were we good at finishing them? Not really in the run of play, but I think we created so many chances that not only LA Galaxy's defenders, they were probably terrified of Jose Martinez getting on the end of one.
Right.
That they pretty much just shipped a couple of them just appreciate that, guys.
Yeah, we'll take it.
Yeah, and they pretty much put the death knell into their own own match. And I mean, either way though, you have to create those chances.
You do.
Petey Martinez had a hell of a match creating those.
Absolutely.
And that first one, he flashed it into the 6, in which they put it in their own goal.
Right.
It's I think the way you can score those type of goals, like I think even if someone didn't score an own goal, someone might have been able to tap it into the back post.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, like that's it's hard on a defender to defend that type of play, and so that's why where it's coming across the 6th, and they're facing their own goal. You know what I mean? So it's like if you get contact on it, you have to like clear it back where it came from, pretty much, or else you're in trouble, and that's what happened on twice. And but he doesn't know what's behind him, so he feels like he kind of has to make that play. But overall, yeah, I mean, like the shot total was 20-11 final count, 20-11. The chance creation count overall was 17-8. A pretty dominant performance by Atlanta United, and on some of those chances, I think the build-up play throughout were consistent with the own goals, and then with Barco hitting the crossbar. You had Joseph was saved nicely. Petey was saved by the keeper and the post. Like, he deserved the goal more than anything. He also,
I agree.
He fluffed one where he like laid on the ground. He smiled a little. Like, it's nice to see him smile. Oh.
Yeah, it is. But it's a wry smile, obviously, because he's kind of feeling that unluckiness. I mean,
but he was clearly feeling himself in that match. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
He was fantastic yesterday, and overall, I think the team, they good value for their possession. They dominated possession and they created chances. We need to see more of that this season. We saw that yesterday, I feel like.
Yeah, it was actually a little bit less possession than we were actually used to.
Right.
You would have thought that LA like bunkered hard, but they didn't. They actually had a good bit of the ball. Like, it was, I think, 54-46.
Yeah.
So they definitely had their chances early on in the match.
They did.
Guzan
saved in the 5th minute.
Exactly. You have
Pablo had to be imperious, a block and a tackle in his own area.
Indeed. And Miles Robinson just putting a shift in like he always does. Yeah, you just on one-on-ones, you can't shake him off.
Yeah.
I mean, he's pretty much on you like glue if you are anywhere one-on-one, and it's beautiful. I mean, it's that's how we can kind of play more forward. This was definitely a more aggressive starting 11 for sure.
Yeah.
And FTB really talked about that, where he kind of wanted to be more on the front foot, and you are allowed that with a Miles Robinson in the back. You know that that one-on-one defending is rock solid.
Yeah.
So in terms of that, we talked about in the fan cams, Petey Martinez being really physical during this match as well.
Absolutely.
Really kind of, he got a yellow for like barging into someone later on, but I'm okay with that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like, he doesn't rack up yellow cards, so like once in a blue moon, whatever. Yeah. It's the message, you know what I mean? It's what he was trying to do. What he pretty much had been doing throughout the match. On that occasion, sure, he got it wrong. He's an attacker. But seeing him shoulder players off the ball, that's beautiful. More of that, absolutely.
Exactly. Love to see that. And that combo play between PT and Barco. You see how they can really link up all the way towards at least the box and try to create a chance. And that's where we saw all those chances come. And also, from the right as well, Gressel, I think, had a fine match as well.
Yeah.
But, definitely Florentine Pogba. Just he just steps in for LGP. You see what he can offer you. Of course, we all already know. Like, yeah, he's a physical. He's a unit.
Yeah.
For sure.
He had one early on to where he like shouldered the ball out of bounds, or shielded the ball. Out of bounds, and and then the comfort on the ball. You know what I mean? He's like another ball player in the back, which is key to this system. And it's great that he can step in for LGP like that, especially in a season where LGP maybe hasn't been at his best in some matches. So. Yeah,
and speaking of good on the ball and being a center back, Miles Robinson also, he put a good ball in. And then
to Joseph,
right, who was able to
play it out to Miram.
Exactly, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
So he's more comfortable on the ball this season. That's for sure. You can see that, and that's really why he's pretty much started every single match. If he can, and so it's a lot of strides, which is good, and definitely. It's a good taste in our mouth after an LAFC match that was just left a little wanting, but you saw the fight back there. But it's just further of just Atlanta being dominant at home.
Right. It's nice to see that bagel on the other end, the clean sheet.
Yes.
Need more of that as well. If only for the confidence of the keeper in the back line.
Indeed.
Especially after shipping 4 goals.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like, that's really what we're gonna have to look forward or look to in our next match, and we'll get to that, of course. But just to make sure that we can kind of carry over that form at home on the road, which is an issue. But also, Jose Martinez, with his penalty that Justin Miram apparently won. I think there were some whispers.
Well, I think it was Hyndman. So because I watched the highlights of what it was. It was a chance created where. Gressel plays the ball into Joseph, forces a save, and Hyndman's following him up. And I think they called a foul on Hyndman for the penalty. I was very confused. I thought it was a Miram.
It was the Miram in the box. It looked like anyway, and apparently it's Hyndman. But either way, we win that penalty, and Jose Martinez
does not sky this one.
But he does now scored. He has scored his 9th consecutive goal in as many matches, 9 straight matches in which he scored a goal. Rather, that's much better. And with his 67th goal, he is tied for the most in a 3-year span.
With a lot of season left.
Yeah, it should hopefully, knock on wood, be broken already.
Joseph Martinez, though, has just been amazing for MLS. Record after record falls. If he spends the majority of his prime here, I think he's going to be on top of all of those lists.
Would love that, and that furthers my hashtag build the statue campaign, because
do it.
It has been necessary. I feel like if and whenever he retires.
Right.
But and also looking at this kind of player position map, it's really interesting. I think Atlanta United, they put out a 4-3-3 or something like that.
Right.
And it's very obvious. It's a 3-5-2.
Right.
Almost it's like...
I think it's a 3-4-3.
Yeah, it's like a 3-4-3, but not like that traditional 3-4-3 that we saw earlier in the season. But still, either way, it's, the positions with Barco and petey, they're just pretty much flanking Jose Martinez.
Yeah.
They're not providing any width at all, actually. But what the width is Justin Miram on the left and Julian Gressel on the right, keeping that. And that really provides that outlet.
We've talked about on this podcast, all of us really have talked about wanting to get players closer to Joseph, and so I think it's actually good because these are just average positioning. What we actually see on the field are good link-up play, between petey, Barco, and Joseph, and that's a 3-headed monster. What are MLS teams gonna do with that, really?
To finally have our 3 DPs on the same pitch again is just.
Yes.
I love it. But also an interesting bit is just how Jeff Lorenowitz has he came in and really didn't skip a beat a little bit, and really, I think because of that positioning, he's just so rock solid for one, but allows the other guys to move forward as well and to really join in the attack.
I actually really like this lineup, for a number of reasons, and I think resting Remedy for this match made a lot of sense, especially a team that you expected to bunker. Okay, they didn't bunker as much, but we still had more of the ball. And I thought Lorenowitz was perfectly fine. I mean, he covered the wings well. He can do what Remedy does in a pinch. Which is what really we need him to do at this point, I think.
Exactly. Yeah. FDB did say that he was played in for rotation, so that's good. Yeah. And I think most of the people if they have a qualm with Jeff Lorenowitz is that he's not pacey enough or something. But it's one of those things like he reads the game so well.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not FIFA. You don't need every single player to be just like 80 pace or above or something.
And he can sprint,
Exactly.
But again, combined with his positioning, that's how he gives you a good 90 minutes or however long he plays.
Exactly. And his metronomic quality of just passing it, between either the wingbacks or to just feed Darlington Nagbe, it's beautiful. And
exactly.
I think it's exactly what we needed in this match to really solidify it. So,
yeah.
Getting into some of the post-match quotes, Frank de Boer was asked about playing PT and Barco simultaneously. He said, they have special qualities in them. It shows. The combination of Barco and PT and Joseph up front, that's very nice. I think every man and woman who loves football, it's pretty much, they would appreciate that.
Yes.
And I agree. I mean, at least for MLS, this is definitely one of in terms of three-pronged attack, it is one of the best. And it's just
it's something we needed to see, something we wanted to see, and we haven't been able to because of form of certain players and availability of certain players and all that. But now it seems like the bands are back together.
Yeah, agreed. And so he was also asked on if criticism from the players have fueled the team. I'm going to paraphrase most of this, is that, there was an injury to Brek-Shea, of course, and it kind of has forced them to play three at the back right now, at least. And, he's played with three really good and fast defenders in that three-man back line. And so, he's pretty much, he feels happy with it. He feels like, when you can play dominant, you play with three. And if earlier in the season, it's actually, he said that, it was actually playing more with a five, which is always interesting as well. And it is obviously, if you are sitting back and having to defend more, then you have the wing backs sit back as well.
I think that's kind of the point of the formation too, is that flexibility,
Right.
And so, you can get on the front foot in that formation. It's through the wingbacks, and I think at the end of the day too, it, beyond tactics and formation and all that, there is a big difference between playing on the front foot and, kind of being a little more passive. And I think that what the players are getting at really is that this team is more comfortable on the front foot.
Yeah.
Because then the defending's better as well, because the other team now has to worry about you coming forward. That is Atlanta United. That's what we've grown used to in the first two seasons. And so yesterday, I think you saw a little bit of a return to that, and I think that's the way going forward.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think you saw them sit back on their laurels at any point, really, and that's really what you want to see, is to impose your will and pin them back. And if they are going to get a few chances, you have the trust in a Robinson to handle it. And so, but also he talked about the Knights substitutes, which I think we're spot on actually. I mean, because he was asked about Tito.
Sure.
And it was one of those interesting things where he talked about, he said, well, Tito, for me, was only to get his motivation up to rejoin the team. Maybe he can get some minutes. It depends on how he's doing tomorrow at training. He's getting close. It's more for rotation for Tuesday. And so he said, that's why I also, a little over 1 hour, I changed Nagbe. Barco, I had to change for precaution reasons because he didn't play for that long, and if he wants to start on Tuesday, you cannot expect him to play for 90 minutes.
Yeah, I think might be confused on the quote here because he actually took Barco at the hour and Nagbe at 75 minutes.
Yeah, but
more or less. Yeah.
Either way,
I think
Barco was taken off early.
Yeah.
I think definitely in mind for the Orlando City match.
Yeah.
And Nagbe, you need to save some legs. Remedy also came in
Absolutely.
to kind of, he didn't start, and so he was able to save some legs there. And yeah, you get kind of about 2.5 days of rest. It's good enough, I think, for the time being.
Yeah.
Not fantastic, of course, but...
Yeah, but especially with the Barco, I like that he's thinking about, well, essentially planning to play Barco on Tuesday, which absolutely, yes, please.
Yeah, and I think we would have all liked to see Tito play in there, but it's tough there because I think he wanted to give PT a 90 minutes there. I think he was playing really well, and I think he wants to be maybe kind of reward him if he could get a goal.
Yeah, exactly. So,
in terms of that, like there weren't a ton of maybe other kind of substitutions.
Right, because Hyman comes in for Barco.
Which makes sense a little bit.
Yeah.
It's a little bit more defensive.
Right,
so,
and then...
and you're not going to sub off Joseph probably at that point either.
Right, exactly. And then Pereira comes in for Gressel. You're not going to put Tito at wingback probably.
Exactly. So it's tough. So it makes sense for me that, I think we finished off the match like superbly. So yeah, not a big deal at all. So I think all in all for this match, I mean, we didn't see the clinical finishing that we would have liked in the run of play, so that they kind of gain that confidence for the next match, especially on the road.
Yeah.
But I think if we can continue to create all these chances and try to play this way on the road, then it will bode a lot better.
I think, I mean, like I said, the build-up play was very encouraging. I think it's just a matter of defending better on the road, and then from there,
especially from the off.
Exactly, yeah, because we have the quality to create chances. I think this team could play like this on most nights if they're up to it.
Yeah, indeed. But that wraps up a bow on this match and gets us into the news. And the players were asked about being pretty much in first place for the first time, I think, for this season, with a game in hand on Philly. They play, full disclosure, we are recording this on a Sunday night, and so we don't know the kind of outcome of the Philadelphia Union
They
match
are playing
yet.
DC United, so it's a big one. Either way, it should work out for Atlanta.
Yeah, we'll take drop points either way, something, which won't keep us in first, but somebody's got to drop points.
Exactly.
And that would be fantastic. So, but FDB was asked about it, and if he feels like this is a first place team, he says, definitely he feels that the team is capable and have the quality. But I mean, it is one of those, the roster he feels like is capable to compete in the first place, and he doesn't have a doubt on it. But I think, they kind of all in all have that same ethos of they'd rather be first at the end of the season. Yeah. And that's a winning mentality that I really love.
Yeah, exactly. And I appreciate this quote from DeBoer because I absolutely agree, especially in the Eastern Conference. Like, match up Atlanta United's roster with anybody, and I'm taking ours. I'm sorry, So I think that first place should absolutely be the aim. And when it comes playoff time, getting to the final, really.
Yeah.
I mean, like, what's the expectation below that?
Yeah, exactly. And I think in terms of Supporters Shield, it might be foregone, but you never know if there's an LAFC collapse. Fantastic, great.
Yeah.
But I think the aim really should be to get as high of a place as possible so that we can get home field advantage, because that obviously has been really just, we've been so dominant at home.
There are two teams at home who have 9 wins, or 9 wins at home. Atlanta United and LAFC. We have been absolutely dominant at home.
So we need it. We need to just kind of at least just maybe tread water on the road and not lose so many in a row on the road. But anyway, so also Jose Martinez was asked about breaking those records. The records being, of course, as said earlier, the 9 consecutive matches in which he's scored, which he's one of two, pretty much one of two to only have done it in MLS before. Yeah,
and this is his second time doing it because he did it last season.
Exactly, crazy. Yeah. Maybe with a little bit more fanfare last season, and maybe it's because he was kind of on the kind of train of maybe breaking and ultimately he did break the goal scoring record in a single season. Right. And again, his 3-year span of how many goals, he said, "The important thing for me is to win. The records are just numbers. I said that the last time you guys asked me about that. They're just goals. Obviously, they are important, but I would just change everything. But I would change everything for another title. That's what makes me excited and feeling good. Obviously, when a forward scores, he's happy. And more if we win. because if I would have scored a goal today and we would have lost, there's no way I would be talking to you guys. Classic Joseph Martinez.
Yeah, absolutely. He's so fantastic with the quotes, man. But no, I mean, like, he's a winner. You know what I mean? And he shows you what he's about. He's a team player. You know, he does his job for the team. He doesn't score goals for his own, for his own personal fanfare. Although he gets a lot of it.
Yeah, I'm sure he gets off on scoring nonetheless. But yeah, I mean, it's very obvious when he doesn't talk. I mean, because when he does, we always get fire quotes. And so it's just awesome that we were able to get the 3 points as well.
Yes.
So, but anyway, the 17s broke another attendance record again with 72,548 at that match on Saturday against LA Galaxy. It's like pretty much, I think, the sixth time I think we've, somewhere in this kind of attendance record, we've kept shifting down the numbers, which is like, at an arcade, that's what you want to do. You want to keep hitting that top and then just moving all the other ones
You're
down.
like, who is this kid?
Yeah, exactly, right? Who's this ATL? So it's fantastic. And of course, with that full stadium TIFO, it was just forever
gorgeous.
United. Love it. Resurgence was the supporters group apparently that kind of spearheaded it. But of course, all the other supporters groups definitely had a part to play in it, and definitely harkened back to that Red Bulls at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in the playoffs last season.
Absolutely.
Which, yeah, I mean, it just gets you kind of wrapped up because, you see the whole stadium looking that glimmery and beautiful.
Yeah.
Yes, always.
I think our crowds definitely motivate the team for sure.
Yeah, definitely. So, there was that MLS All-Star game that was played last week as well. They unfortunately, the All-Stars lost against Atletico Madrid 3-0. You had Guzan start, Joseph, PT, Barco, LGP all featured, and LGP handled Diego Costa pretty well twice, although it was questionable in the first one maybe a little bit with he maybe dragged him down a little bit.
Dark art defending,
and he was able to switch jerseys with Costa afterwards. So I guess
two of my favorite players matching up against one another.
Yeah,
love
as
it.
a Chelsea fan. So but and me being an Arsenal fan, I hate Diego Costa. Anyway, so he's gotten a couple of my players sent off during those derbies, and it's been hell of annoying because they didn't deserve it. Anyway, all right, so
Dark arts, man.
So Goose also started with some kind of funny quips on the kind of mic'd up segments that he was part of, and he also interviewed fellow goalkeeper Nick Raimondo, who kind of subsequently shipped 2 goals. So he didn't have the best night.
Guzan didn't get scored on though.
He did not, and so it was a coincidence. But also moving on from that, George Campbell, the homegrown for us, started for the MLS homegrowns, and that was fantastic. He apparently played really, really well. I wasn't able to watch this match, but just to be able to represent LA United, kind of after also just signing as a homegrown, fantastic, and I want to see him at LA United too very soon. And also on Atlanta United's first team squad. Yeah. That's kind of the main crux, is that he's not allowed to play yet.
Not yet, but I mean, I feel like he's doing like the Miles Robinson thing. So like next season, I think he could step in, be a key player for the first team. I'm excited to see these players coming through the academy. It's wonderful.
Indeed. But also during the All-Star game break, the MLS Players Association were also holding a press event talking about numerous things for the upcoming collective bargaining agreement.
Yeah.
And they raised a few issues, kind of the travel issues that the players, they abhor dealing with.
Yes.
Brad Guzan talked about how few charters there are in MLS. He said, quote, "Not spending 3/4 of a day sitting in an airport," unquote, "allows you to," quote, "mentally and physically prepare and recover in the way a pro environment should be." And I think that absolutely is true. It's one of those where I think MLS could absolutely provide a lot more charters so that these players, in terms of, there's gonna be more of these 3-day rests or even less as we move forward because of the way they're structuring an MLS season to go.
Yeah.
Like you have to give these guys a break in terms of just being able to rest their legs and not kind of being bored out of their minds for one.
Yeah.
Or sitting coach with just everybody else. It is difficult.
On a cramped flight, you know what I mean? Like these are
Yeah.
professional athletes, you know. And we got the thing is too, we got to treat this like you're traveling Europe because that's essentially what it is, you know. It's not the same as England or Germany or
Right.
Italy. So yeah, these guys have to deal with a lot more travel.
Right. We're not asking for them to have their own plane and have it like, you know, Atlanta United on the outside of it.
Right.
But I think there is at least, you know, just giving them that caveat so that they can recover in due time. So,
Right.
But wrapping up for the news is Brek Shea had successful surgery on his ACL tear. Initially Frank de Boer, when he saw that injury, he said he probably just pretty much damaged and tore up his entire leg.
Yeah.
And it obviously is not the case then. It's just an ACL tear.
Okay.
It's good.
Yeah.
And,
Fantastic. Yeah.
that bodes a lot better for his recovery, and we wish him nothing but the best
Absolutely,
going
buddy.
forward. Hopefully he can, come back and play at some point. For if it's not Atlanta United, if it's for some team, because
Yeah.
I think he's only 30 years old, so it's tough.
Exactly.
So hopefully he can still play somewhere. But moving on into the transfer rumors of the week, Globo Esporte reports that Brazilian top flight side Grêmio, they have inquired about Petey Martinez on loan, but they couldn't match what Atlanta United wanted, and so negotiations have apparently not moved forward.
I think that
Interesting.
makes perfect sense, though, to be honest. Like, you could say blank asked about Petey Martinez, but
Sure.
they couldn't match Atlanta United's price. That's going to be the constant theme,
Yeah.
unless it's a team from Europe. And a team from Europe is probably not looking at Petey Martinez right now. I think it's never really been a case of whether or not Petey will leave, at least mid-season or even at the end of this season,
Yeah.
because that, like, what it would take to make that move happen and the optics around that, like, it just doesn't make sense for anybody, really. So.
Yeah, no, because exactly. He, in terms of what Atlanta United want to command for him, it's, we'd be taking it at a loss because, yes, he hasn't been performing up to his potential or the lauded potential. And so, right now, why would we do that? It just wouldn't make any sense. And we need PT for the stretch run anyway. There's just, it wouldn't make much sense to begin with. And so, it's kind of one of those kind of rumors that are kind of strange anyway. But another one that was definitely kind of ridiculous was that Florentin Pogba was reportedly offered to Fuenlabrada, second division Spanish side. That's according to AS. And in that article, Flo's agent Eric De Pojuelas, he spoke about the Pogba's brother apparent plan to all be playing together in Spain, and that Flo wants to be near his brothers there, and they have a week to find a club.
Yeah, interesting note. Paul Pogba does not play in Spain. He plays for Manchester United, and
there are the rumors of him wanting to go to Real Madrid,
which also are not great. Like, I mean, in terms of the rumors and their validity, like,
Exactly.
because there's a week left in that window as well,
Right.
And the chances of them pulling that off.
And so, AJC did throw cold water on the rumor, as Doug Robertson did say that it was BS in a tweet, as he was asked and was told that it was by the team. And so, but there is just that as well. Like, yes, Matias Pogba, he just signed for a Spanish side. And so, I think they're making up some stories probably to maybe unsettle some, players and whatnot. But either way, it's kind of really ridiculous.
I think this was one that got, like, Florentin Pogba got swept into some other rumors about some involving bigger players and bigger teams. So, but it's all BS, I think is the conclusion.
But either way, we always put it out there so that you guys are abreast of that type of information, and we cover it on here to tell you our opinion, if it is or isn't. But
that's me pouring cold water on this.
But anyway, that gets us to our buy or sell segment, and simply we bring up a topic and we determine if we buy or sell. And so first topic is that we looked more solid on Saturday without LGP. Buy or sell?
I mean, I have to buy it. I buy it because we looked more solid with Pogba, and that's the thing. Like Pogba himself was fantastic, you know, and on top of all the, like we mentioned, the blocks, the tackles, the comfort on the ball, he didn't give the ball away, and that's been a huge issue with LGP this season. You know, I still believe in the quality of player that he is, but the fact of the matter is, yeah, they did actually look fine without him.
Yeah. I buy that we look more solid on Saturday with LGB, but I think I buy it with a coupon because it's kind of the caveat is that Florentine Pogba didn't play against like the likes of LAFC, you know, where that full-pronged attack was definitely very deadly, and that's at home. Now, if Florentine Pogba was playing on the road against a Carlos Vela, then you know, now I think we have a valid way to actually assess this.
Sure, yeah.
So I think I buy that again with a coupon.
Yeah.
So next buy or sell is buy or sell. PT Martinez and Ezequiel Barco need to start together to be most effective.
Buy. It's because if you just start PD and Joseph, for example, they're just easy to defend. You know, like we mentioned, the first goal on Saturday came because PD took up a wide right position and played a ball in. When he had the space to do so, and he had the space to do a lot this match, in which he did a lot, you know. And so Barco himself, you know, it's his first start in for a while for the first team, and but he played well, and he, you know, I think it's when you have so many threats to worry about, each individual one becomes harder to defend. Joseph had space to create chances and goals as well, you know. So yeah, absolutely buy.
Yeah, no, I absolutely buy as well. I mean, they. Like you were saying, I mean, just that link-up play is tremendous to be able to give other looks for the players and trying to get them into space where they can really operate. And especially both of them can also win a lot of fouls. Both of them being really, really skillful on the ball for dead balls. Very important as well. And they both are feeding Joseph, which is something that, you know, I think you have a guy who's, I think, second right now in the league in scoring.
Yes,
I mean,
yes,
you need people that can absolutely do that. So, last buy or sell item is buy or sell. It was the right call to hire FDB over GBS, Guillermo Barcelona of LA Galaxy, and of course they were all in the running, especially even Carlos Puyol of Barcelona fame. They are all candidates that we were looking at, but is it the right call to hire FDB over GBS? Buy or sell?
Yeah, I buy that one with my entire mortgage, man. I mean, like, GBS, you saw the tactics from LA Galaxy on Saturday, and they did not change their tactics even though their best player was missing, you know? So that right there is a huge, I think, red flag, you know? But these were the criticisms of him in Argentina, was that he had no real tactics outside of long balls. And I think that, yeah, we would not be happy with how the team would be playing under Schelotto. I think De Boer, sure, yes, you can have your gripes with him, but I think he has tried at times, especially recently, to get all of his best players on the field and like have a system in which they can break teams down and defend.
Right. Yeah, no, I absolutely buy that it was the right call to hire FDB over GBS. Because yes, you know, I mean, you have seen that he is trying to at least impose a system and play a really kind of more dominant type of style, whether it's slightly more defensive in certain areas or not. And yes, there is some side-to-side play slash just kind of things to be desired a little bit at times, but it still is, you know, I'd rather play on the more front foot than not really know how we're playing from week to week at all. So yeah, I mean, absolutely, it is the right call for me.
Yeah.
But moving on into Atlanta United 2, they played to a 4-2 win over Ludon United on Friday night at Fifth Third Bank Stadium. And Bienvenu Kanekimana, he scored a hat trick. Just really, this man is on fire.
Yeah.
He just got signed, and yeah, I mean, he's extended his scoring streak to 3 consecutive matches, in which he scored 6 goals. I know, yeah, right?
Joseph, right? Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic to see, though. And Jackson Conway also has, scored his 2nd goal of the year, which is fantastic. And Andrew Carlton and George Bello started in that match. Good to see.
Absolutely.
And yeah, Bello getting some minutes at Atlanta too is super important because he's pretty much our only left wing back that I think in terms of potential that I think can handle the system on a regularity.
Yeah.
So we want him in.
Yeah, so absolutely.
As soon as possible. But anyway, so that gets us to our mailbag. And you guys send in these questions through IG story. Please continue to do so, and we might answer your question in the future. First question comes from William JR21. Why not Tito after winning 3-0 in the 75th minute? USOC is right around the corner.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if he takes part in the match on Tuesday anyway. And so, like, we talked about the subs. I think the subs were perfectly reasonable, perfectly defensible. It's a case of, you don't want to take off Petey. You don't necessarily want to take off Joseph. Well, especially with you wanting to rest Barco and Nagby ahead of Tuesday. So I think the right call was made with the subs. And I think, I mean, look, we have a lot of matches coming up. At the end of the day, Tito will get his chance. I'm sure Tito will make an appearance in the coming weeks.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty fine, actually, with him not playing against Galaxy.
Yeah. I mean, I understand where the question is probably coming from in terms of, I mean, he's the lion tamer. He should probably get some minutes so that he is a little bit sharper before playing, OC if he gets a run out. And I hope he does get a run out, but I think in terms of in this match, again, like we said, in terms of wing back, he's probably not going to play there. And especially that, I think, Dion Pereira has been playing wing back, and I think you need somebody to at least still stay sharp because, he hasn't really played in a ton of minutes. And so I think, Justin Miriam having started that match, you want to, keep your wing backs fresh for especially a very strenuous position.
Yeah.
And so have them sharp as well. And so I think that's also why you saw Gressel taken off.
Yeah.
And that's a major part of it. And so Tito not getting that. I mean, at least I think in terms of his pace, if he's fit, you can bring him on. You lump a ball over to him over the top, and he can run on it. I mean, it still is. I think he has his uses later on in that match if he's gonna be played. So next question comes from Ryan Balch, 23. Opinions of Flo Pogba's performance.
Oh, fantastic! Our second best defender after Miles on the day. And I mean, like, he asserted himself early on. I mean, like, I forget how early it was he had to make a tackle in his own box, but he did, and he got spot on.
Yeah.
He also, and so I've liked Pogba's appearances overall this season. I think it's been a very valuable signing considering, he was kind of out of a team. Pretty
much, he was pretty much out of a team, and he hadn't really played a meaningful game in about a year and a half. I mean, he's a great person in the locker room, always laughing and making jokes with all the players, and I think whomever you are, he's really befriended all the players, and so not only a huge person in the locker room, but also I think on the pitch, just really not only asserting himself, but I think though for me, like he still needs to be taken with like just a match at a time and given some rest between, because I think you saw if a little bit of overuse, it's gonna be a little bit more difficult for him because he hasn't played a ton of minutes nor a ton of matches in a row, and so we just have to be careful, I think, and not play him too much in a short span of time. So next question comes from Slim Jin. Is PT finally fitting in? Yeah,
he definitely is. Well, and the thing about Petey and the type and quality of player that he is that he doesn't fit in by being another player. He fits in by dominating. Yeah. He fits in by stringing up, by really
stringing the passes.
Yeah, being the engine of the team. Like I think that, and I think you saw that. That was probably, in terms of that, probably his best performance on Saturday. Like just
he didn't get a goal or assist, but it was definitely, he was involved with so much of the attack.
Exactly. Like all the through balls, the balls in between the lines. Dropping deep, and like you said, stringing everything together.
Yeah, his work rate there as well. It was, I think one of his most complete matches for sure. I agree. And if he can play with that kind of mentality and really wanting to win every single ball and make all the right plays, really make the smart play the right ball, that type of stuff, yes, then he's absolutely fitting in a lot better. So.
Yeah. Yep.
Next question comes from Lawson Say 04. With George Bello coming back from injury, should we move to a 4-back with him?
I actually prefer him at wingback. I think that the wingback position would best use his talents. You know what I mean? I think that when you have 3 center backs, it allows your fullbacks or wingbacks in that case to get forward more. And I think that's what we want for Bello. And I also think that he's probably our best left wing back on the roster, you know, and because
in terms of potential, because yeah, obviously he hasn't been able to prove that quite yet.
But it's also like we don't have a natural left wing back necessarily, unless maybe Ambrose.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Mike Ambrose, he's a very serviceable option. I think you know, can do the job on any given night. It's just, yeah, I think for George Bello, I think he can play in a 4-man back line for sure. I have no issues with him doing that. I think I've seen enough of him where it wasn't that like catastrophic or anything if he was, you know, just the lone, if he was a left back. And so I think it is one of those things where, though, I think to kind of more assimilate him in better, I think it is to give him a little bit less defensive responsibilities at the top level, and so that we can kind of blood him in a little easier. And then if needed, and we need to play a 4-man back line, yeah, we'll see when we get there. So last question comes from Misty Milo. Do you think it's possible for Joseph to pull off a hat trick this season? If so, then against who?
September 14th, we play Columbus Crew at home. That'll be our first home match in like a month because we go on a crazy long road trip. And yeah, I mean, Columbus Crew have not been good, and yeah, that's a team that we typically beat, especially at home. I think that's a Joseph hat trick kind of day. Okay.
I think it's against Orlando City. Either one of these two matches coming up. Ooh. Yeah, I mean, he has talked about how you know, the back of the net just hits a little more sweeter. Paraphrase, obviously. In Orlando, I think I think Joseph has kind of some you know, has some fire in him to really want to score as many as possible against this team. So I think against that team he will definitely do some business for sure.
Yeah.
But anyway, speaking of Orlando City, it gets us into our match preview. It is the U.S. Open Cup semifinal. It is 7:30 at Exploria Stadium on Tuesday. And so yeah, we in terms of our form recently, it's been not too bad. We've had 4 wins and 2 losses in our last 6. Orlando, it's a win, draw, loss, win. And I mean, you know, with that last win, I believe it was against
FC Dallas.
FC Dallas, yeah, pretty good win in terms of that. If you would, you know, I think FC Dallas are pretty much one of the better teams in the West on the usual basis, and so. For them to be able to do that is not a bad win, for sure.
And they did it without Nani and Sasha Kleshin, obviously. Probably resting those players ahead of the semifinal matchup against Atlanta United.
Indeed. And yeah, Nani got his little tune-up in the All-Star game as well. So, I mean, yeah, he's probably really gearing up for this match, definitely. And definitely our previous matchups bodes pretty well. Of course, we are undefeated against Orlando City. Hopefully that will continue, of course. But yeah, I mean, in terms of playing them at home, we're undefeated there. You know, we have played some really interesting matches there as well. Of course, with the Tito just blast that 1-0 win in 2017.
Yeah. Barco got his, well, no, it wasn't his first goal, but Barco scored against Orlando last season.
Indeed, that also bodes well in terms of his confidence there as well.
Joseph with the record breaker at Orlando.
Yeah, can't deny that. Joseph with his hat trick at Mercedes-Benz Stadium.
Yeah.
I mean, just plenty of really, I think, back and forth games / I think really kind of games that I think it's not always been one-sided in terms of the play. But in terms of the results, yeah, they've kind of gone our way.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, I think Atlanta's they're always the better team on paper against this team. And I think at the end of the day, they're just their quality players usually come through. Whether it's Tito, whether it's Joseph, whether it's Petey who scored against Orlando earlier this season.
Yes,
we have better players, and so we should beat this team.
Right. But, that doesn't mean we should overlook them because, they do have some strengths that I think we definitely need to look out for. I mean, definitely from direct free kicks, I think, you have the likes of Nani, the likes of a collection, who are good on a dead ball. Yeah. You also have them. They're really good at coming back from losing positions, and so there is some fight back from them.
Yeah.
That's something that we need to make sure, if we get a lead, we clamp down and we make sure that, their chances are limited and that they can't pull anything off. But, they're also very decent at defending set pieces, in which we haven't really created a goal this year so we need to kind of get better at that on our end as well. And they are also really good at protecting a lead, so that's something that, we need to really try to get on that front foot and score early and not concede something in the first 20 minutes.
Right.
But, and what's something that we could actually get at, though, I think, is that they are pretty weak at defending their wings. And so, we need to use our width, and I think that's kind of why maybe we saw a little bit of that rest on the wings for us a little bit with Gressel and whatnot. You want to be able to, have guys running at them to really unsettle them. So
I think so, for sure,
Yeah, and so, they're that type of team that I think we can get at. It's just, we need to make sure that we play to what our strengths are and what their weaknesses are, for sure.
Yeah.
But into some match facts. Get us into that.
Yeah, so they have not beaten us in 3 matches at Exploria, as we've covered. Atlanta United has lost their last 6 away matches in MLS, and there have been over 2.5 goals scored in Atlanta United's last 7 matches. Of course, the last one being the 3-0 win over LA Galaxy. Hopefully it's more of that and not a shootout. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, hopefully there's more of a clean sheet and a few goals for Atlanta United. But some players to watch for Orlando City. Of course, Nani, as we've talked about, who's got 8 goals and 4 assists. He's very much their match winner if he's on the pitch this season. Tesho Akindele, their central attacking midfielder, has 8 goals and 1 assist.
I think he scored against SC Dallas,
Yeah, and so, they're really spreading these goals around a little bit. Chris Mueller with 5 goals and 2 assists. And Dom Dwyer with 5 goals and 2 assists as well.
Yeah, Dom Dwyer, he plays center forward every match, so that's not a brilliant goal return, I think, in my opinion. And then the last match at Mercedes-Benz, he was not good. he fluffed a couple chances. So
yeah, he did. And so hopefully that may continue.
Yeah, hopefully.
But so our keys to this match definitely, I think, is shutting down Nani. And whatever side he plays on, if he switches wings or anything like that, we need to just be able to make sure that we can clamp down on him and let him not create anything. And we need to attack down the wings, like I said, have that width to really spread them out as much as possible.
Yeah.
And we need to finish our chances in the run of play.
Yeah.
Super important. And we didn't see that against LA Galaxy, but if we can, of course, if we can win a penalty, then sure. But, you can't bank on that. So we have to finish our chances.
I think this is a match where we really need an early goal. First 10 minutes, and then we can really settle down and play our game.
Agreed. And, so a few of our players have been kind of talking about this match. And Justin Miram, he was asked about if he scored against Orlando City, his former club, what he would do. Would he celebrate? He said 1,000,000%. And there was even a post on our Instagram, and he reiterated that in our comments, 1,000,000%. He hates Orlando City as much as we do. You gotta love the guy.
You might if you receive death threats, which is something that AJ and Justin Miram have in common.
Indeed. And Tanner as well with some really purple peanuts that he received earlier this season, I believe.
So,
yeah, classy people down there, of course. Of course, I'm not serious on that. So anyway, also during the All-Star game, Brad Guzan was also asked about those boos that he heard. He was, the home keeper, but he definitely didn't feel like he was at home.
Right.
He received a lot of jeers, a lot of abuse.
I think he was in front of the supporter section, right?
He was, pretty much.
Yeah.
And so he joked, "I didn't hear them. You laugh and smile about it. We'll be back here in a couple days. We'll be here Tuesday night, so it's to be expected." Joseph and I were having a bit of a chuckle about it. And Joseph said, I'll let him finish his coughing. Joseph Martinez said with a smile that it was a very affectionate welcoming. They always remember us with great affection, and I as well. Of all the games we played, I remember them. He continued, "The first thing I think about it was the match against the Galaxy." He says, obviously with both of our fan bases, it's a derby, but honestly, I don't know why, because I have love for them.
Oh, Joseph.
Yes.
Quote machine.
Indeed. And so, with that, he has love for them because, he's fathered them many times.
Yep.
So, I think with good reason. You gotta love your kids. So why not? Why not, right? So anyway, let's get into the injury report and unavailable players for Orlando. Midfielder Christian Higuita is out with a hamstring injury. Will Johnson did play over the weekend, but he's still maybe a little bit questionable with that abductor. So we'll see. We would love to see more Will Johnson face in the future, of course, where he's still barking at refs and just being overall salty.
Yeah.
But for us, LGP returns. Bella played over at 2, obviously, as we talked about. But Breck Shea, obviously, he just had surgery, and Brandon Vasquez is still questionable for this match. And I think that gets us to our predicted starting 11. Yeah. So in terms of that, let's get through the lines and goalkeeper.
Yeah, Guzan.
Of course. And your shape, I guess. Where are you going?
Yeah, 3-4-3. I think pretty similar to what we saw over the weekend. I think that has shown that it's effective and why. So I think you don't change that. Yeah, I think you go to 3-4-3 again. So 3 at the back. We have a little bit different here.
Yep.
We've got LGP, we've got Robinson, and I have Pogba at left center back with LGP on the right.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, hopefully he can start again in such short rests. Hopefully that doesn't affect him too hard. But for me, my 3-man center back line is Escobar, Robinson, and LGB comes back because of that short rest. And also, I think he's still, the incumbent. So, he should start at left center back. Getting into the midfield or wingbacks first, probably. Yeah. Gressel. Of course. And left wingback, we have some difference.
Right. So this is where Escobar comes in for me. He plays left wingback. It's been left wingback by committee, and I think if you look at it from that perspective, Escobar is actually probably our best option at left wingback in a pinch. So for me, I think this is a game in particular where you want your wingbacks to be sharp. You want the right choices there. And Miriam's been fine, and he defended well against Galaxy. But for me, Escobar starts at left wing back.
Yeah, I think for me, Miriam definitely starts again, even on short rest. I think you can have a Dion Pereira kind of come in as well, and that won't be too big of a drop off. And end product maybe is a little lacking at the moment for Pereira, but I think for Escobar to start at left wing back, where I don't think he's played yet this season, so I think for me it might kind of unsettle our defense a little bit. And I think for me, I think players that are familiar with each other in the starting 11, if they're going to be playing, I think a very important match. Yeah. So, that gets us to the midfield, which I think we're in agreement.
Yeah. Rometty and Nagbe in the middle, of course. I mean, that's your two go-to. And then Rometty got the rest, which I think was the good call. It had to have been with this in mind.
Indeed. And I think, they give us the most energy. And, they will close down. And hopefully, because of who's going to be playing, I think for me at the 10, mine's more of a 3-5-2. Barco at the 10. That allows us to maybe not get overrun in the midfield as we have maybe like against an LAFC. for you, it's a little bit different with that 3-4-3. And
Yes.
so, who are your forwards up top?
Right, so I have petey and Barco kind of doing the inverted wing thing. So petey on the right, Barco on the left, and Joseph up top. But really, we talked about the map earlier, average positioning. Those three players should be close together so that they can, link up, create through the middle. Hopefully they get the wing back support as well for the width. And, I think that if Atlanta United plays like they did yesterday, they absolutely should defeat Orlando.
Yeah, I agree. But and for me, the two forwards are PT and Joseph. And so, in terms of that, the way we're playing, I think that definitely, we want to play very similarly how we did against LA Galaxy. I can see how they're maybe a little bit more dangerous on the counter in terms of Orlando because they have, the likes of guys that have some pace, and especially Nani, who can create something out of nothing. That's a person that, we want to be able to be very wary of. And so, in the back, we just really have to be very, very astute and very solid as well. Yeah. So, anyway, I think we'll probably dominate a lot of the possession. I think even at home there. But I think what's gonna kind of bode well is that they're going to want to come out. They have to score. We have to score.
Yes.
Like someone needs to win this match.
Exactly.
And so it needs to be, I think, where it lends itself to be a lot more of an open match.
I think so. I mean, I don't think it's a hot take to say this is probably the biggest match in their history. I mean, because yes, they have not made the playoffs, which we are more than happy to point out. And this is their chance to make a mark in this rivalry, quote unquote, and put their name on some silverware, which they haven't really been close to. They are a young franchise as well, so they need to build some legacy. They need to start somewhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What better way than to get one over on Atlanta United on your way to a trophy?
Yeah. Well, hopefully that doesn't happen, and we are predicting that. What?
I got 2-0. I think, they looked really good yesterday, especially the midfield play was very encouraging, and I think that they kind of carry this over. I think that the boys kind of figured out a system and a shape that works, and I have 2-0.
Okay. For me, it's a 2-1 win. I think it's a little bit kind of reminiscent of kind of the score lines in Orlando. I think it's that type of match where I think each team is going to score, but I think we can ultimately, at the end of the day, advance into the final. And I think it's, it's against a team that historically we kind of feel very confident against. So as long as we go in not underestimating, what they are not able to do against us and really put our marker down, then I think we can really do the business and get into the final. So anyway, that does it for that match preview and gets us to our question of the day.
Who do you want as your three-man backline going forward? Of course, AJ and I have predicted different three-man backlines for Tuesday night. A lot of you want Pogba to start. Let us know what you think. Tweet at us, get in the comments. We read everything.
Indeed. But guys, that's it for us today. Remember to subscribe if you haven't already. Smash that like button and share this video because it really does help us a lot. And for Mark, I'm AJ. Thank you guys so much for watching.